I will open the hearing for the Granby, or the meeting for the Granby Conservation Commission. I guess we will start with the Building and Board of Health applications. So R. LaPointe for East State Street. Is anyone here for that? Is that a no?
No, I don't hear anybody.
Nobody's answering. I think it's a no.
Okay. Next one is C. Smith for South Street.
Yep.
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. So what is the project? Would you like to introduce yourself and kind of explain?
I'm trying to build a new construction home on the lot there. My in-laws gave me and my wife a portion of their property, 3.5 acres there. I sent all the documents to Kathy Leonard, but I was expecting to see someone in person tonight at the old library to have it looked at and to get my building permit checklist checked off. So I'm not really sure how to proceed.
Does anyone at the
does anyone have the paperwork?
I'm looking at it online.
I'm looking at it online also.
I can help for you.
Yeah, where is this, Al?
So 175 South. Charles, are you okay with me speaking?
Yeah, is that Alan Weiss?
It is, yes.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So it is south of New Ludlow Road on South Street towards the Westover Air Park there. And it's basically offset behind 170. It says Westover Golf Club. I'm on Google Earth right now. There's a farmed meadow. There's a hay field basically behind it. And it looked fine to me. Everything that I saw was at least 200 to 300 feet away from any potential resource areas that I noticed. I also went on Google Earth and looked around on the aerials for any evidence of, sunken tractor tire tracks, anything like that. And I really didn't see anything at all near the area of construction. I did the septic design here. That's why I'm familiar with it. It is all approved. It is approved in the sense that, and Bill, you're probably familiar with these rules. The perk has to be reevaluated in season, even though the old perk is only 5 or 6 years old. It's expired by their standards, but much the same. I don't see a reason why they gave it a green light.
No question. Is it on the east side of South Street or the west side of South Street?
At South Side. So the odd numbers are on the south side, east side. I'm sorry, on South Street, and it's north of the golf course.
Okay, so it's on the east side of South Street, between South Street and I think the 7th fairway at Westover Golf Club. Okay, Al,
Yeah.
do we have your septic plan online here?
You should have an image. I got electronic copies to Catherine Leonard, and you should also have paper copies.
Oh, okay, I got it right here. C. Smith. Okay, let's take a peek then.
Yeah, and you'll see toward the way east on the lot, about 250 probably feet, there is a wet area, but I don't, no one's going to touch that on this project or go within at least a couple hundred feet of it.
Yeah, I'm just rotating the image. It came up in a different format. Well, I guess it's not going to cooperate.
So,
Big hayfield, quite honestly.
Yeah, okay.
so you're counting the wetland as starting where the trees or shrubs are on the east side? Is that what you're considering? The wet
It might
edge?
be closer than the trees and shrubs, but that's still 300 feet or more.
Okay.
I'm using the measuring tool on Google Earth as we speak, and it looks like 300 feet.
Are you guys looking at the aerial photograph?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
looking at Math GIS.
I don't know
Let me
if
see.
I'll flip screen.
Let me try something here. What's GIS show, Ed?
Drainage ditch flowing from New Ludlow Road, probably heading south, I'm guessing. Or it could be running north. I'm not sure what the direction is, but it kind of cuts through the property and there's some, looks like vegetated wetlands to the east and west of this drainage ditch.
Now, are they gonna
Um,
cross the drainage ditch with any of the infrastructure for the property?
Oh no, not even close.
Okay. All right, well, it's up to you guys. If you want to do a site visit, fine. If not, it may be fine. Again, I think, again, this is one of these circumstances, and this is the reason David and the commission crafted this new policy, because literally this is the first time I've seen this plan at, 7:10 PM the night of the meeting. Again, it'd be nice to get these plans a couple of weeks before the meeting so we could take a look at them.
Yeah, the digital plan was sent 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
So there is a GIS map also on my plan. If you have that page, you'll see subject site location. I show both the USG and GIS.
All right, do you guys want to do a site visit or no?
This is Dave. I'm of the opinion that it looks like the development for the proposed house and septic are quite a distance from the GIS wetland area.
Okay,
Al, it sounded like you were saying it's plus 200 feet,
Yeah, that's my estimate.
which is well over 100 feet, of course. So, and I know that particular area is relatively flat back there. That drainage ditch actually runs from New Level Road into the base. It's part of the Stony Brook wetland area, so it's draining parallel South Street, and it runs in the same direction South Street runs. So if the development's not close, I don't see a purpose in walking the site. That's my opinion. Other people may have a different opinion.
okay. Well, thanks for your input, Dave. Janice, Amanda, what do you guys think? Again, this is unfortunate that we've seen that, again, we're seeing this literally in real time without any due diligence review. So it kind of puts us in a awkward position.
I guess I'm in Google Earth and I'm on the April 2016 layer just to sort of clearly differentiate the likely wetland from upland, and the rest look like it was hayfield or crop fields, maybe even earlier. So are you maybe halfway into the field, something like that, Alan, with the house and septic? And I saw the septic's in front of the house, so that's good too.
So you said you're on April 6th. I'm bringing that in right now.
Yep. I can't figure out I see there's the measurement. I just don't know how long your,
And to me, based on that one, I would put the closest work again in excess of 200 feet. There's also, I don't know if you can zoom in on my plan. There's another map as well. There's a survey done, I believe, 2014 for brother-in-law, I believe it is, way back, 100 feet from the work on this property. That was attached to the paperwork that I gave Kathy. So that would be a third line of evidence.
I think all I see is that one map of the septic with the smaller, maps of the parcels and the topo.
Okay.
That's all we got from it. But you're saying that all your work will be more than 200 feet from that edge where it looks like the wetlands start, based on the sort of grasses and shrubs or trees that are not part of the hayfield.
Correct.
Okay.
And I agree with Ed that it is pretty flat. I don't see anything like that either.
Mhm.
Alan, is the parcel known as, is it ID'd as lot 175 on the Mass GIS? Is that what you're seeing, Ed?
Yeah.
I think it
So this
goes
is-
75.
Okay, so this is this is the 175 parcel. I got you. Okay. So let's take a look from the street to,
It's not been subdivided yet, Bill.
right. I realize that, of course. Let me just measure this here quickly.
This is Ed talking at Chaplain. So Conservation Commission. Point of fact or interest, the plan has been recorded. It was subdivided in 2013, signed by the planning board January 16, 2014, and just recently recorded in the Hampshire County Registry on June 17, 21. So there's about a space of about 7 years or so between the 6.5, 7 years between the signature dates and the recording by the planning board.
So it has been subdivided.
It has been. It's plan book
Yes.
249, page 105. So, but it's a long timeline between the date of the recording of the plan and signing of the plans, about 7 years.
Is that unusual, Ed?
Typically, you'd have to record the plan within 6 months of the endorsement by the planning board.
Okay, so it was signed off as an A&R lot?
That's correct. It's a state lot.
Okay.
I'm sure the
So
planning board endorsed the same today.
Yeah, so edge of pavement, again, according to this mapping, edge of pavement to the nearest bump out of the wetland is depicted on the maps about 660 feet. And Al, from the street to your furthest bit of work, how many feet is it approximately?
That would be, I'm measuring in CAD right now. Uh, 480.
Okay, all right, so that's consistent with your roundabout 200-foot buffer, if you will. Okay, well, that's evidence that, again, if we believe this depiction on Mass GIS is reasonably accurate, I think we got plenty of wiggle room on this one, but again, that's just my opinion. Amanda?
I was gonna say, do we know the intended use for the hayfield afterwards? Is it gonna continue to be hayed? Is there, since it's kind of changing use?
That would be for Charles to answer.
This is Charles Smith. I intend to use it for growing like a garden and maybe having some animals.
Okay.
Okay. For personal or commercial use? For
Personal.
sale? Okay.
No, personal.
I'm just considering about the agricultural exemptions and things of that nature.
It doesn't hit the land area for that. You're at a total of about 3.6 acres.
Okay, because I just don't know if we should discuss those items as well. Because if there is, wetland still on the site that's been hayed, having animals on it is different impacts to that area.
Sure.
Well, I think the proposal before the commission is simply for the house and the driveway. No, I know what you're driving at, Amanda, but I think, we're not asked to review that aspect of the project at this time, But you're right.
I understand that. I just want to raise it so that the homeowner is aware
Yep.
that there are other things that will require review in the future. But yeah, I felt like it was good to raise these things now, so
Yeah,
it doesn't become like an enforcement in the future
Yeah,
or anything like that.
okay,
Good point.
okay. Janice, what's your thoughts on this?
I think, looking at the plan and now that I know how far it is from the road, I can see that it's still got plenty of wiggle room in the back. So I think we're okay.
Oh, okay, so you reviewed several different dates of Google
Yeah.
Earth photos and they all look clean? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, well, I move we approve this with no further action.
Second.
Evil seconded. Okay. So,
Any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Hi. Were we gonna do a roll call for that?
Yeah, my
Administrative.
thought is if everyone does aye, then Amanda will ask for any negative votes. If there is a negative vote, we'll do a roll call. Otherwise, we'll assume it's a unanimous vote. I think that's a easier way to do it.
Sure.
Okay. So
Any
any
Is that
negative
allowed,
votes?
Janice?
What?
Is that allowed?
Well, this is administrative.
Oh, that's true, I suppose.
Oh, yeah. I guess
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah, this
All right,
isn't even a
I just
permit
wanted-
app. This is
not a
just an
public
informal.
hearing.
This is an informal anyway.
No.
All right, so did we have anyone abstain or go vote no? All right, approved.
Okay, Al, you're all set. How
Well,
about
it's
that?
not me, it's Chris Smith. I'm here. I think I'm here also for, I don't know if it's your next one or not, but that was one on Amherst.
Yeah, Kaylee Quinneville. That's at 7:30, I believe.
No.
And
Okay.
Bill, are you gonna call Greg Briggs to let him know that that one's approved, or is someone signing? How are we?
Oh, yes, I will. Yeah, when I talk to Briggsy tomorrow, I'll tell Greg. Yes.
All right, so next item is the continued project for John Plazak, wood clearing. Is someone here for
Withdraw
that?
Didn't he withdraw that?
I don't
I
know.
think my
No,
understanding is he asked us to go out and do a site visit for his proposed cutting. Is that true?
That's
Yes, and he
correct.
said he's not gonna
Okay.
pay for it twice.
Yeah, he didn't want to pay the $75 site visit fee, so he told us to essentially not come out.
But he also wanted to do grading. It wasn't just tree work.
That's right.
So, okay, but it's withdrawn, so I guess we'll just move on to the next item.
Well,
it is-
you think-
It is
Amanda, is that-
withdrawn?
What do we do with this so it doesn't reappear?
Well, I think
Cross
what's
it
going
out.
to happen, on Plazak, if he does grading and we determine that it's grading in violation of the Wetlands Protection Act, then we got to go in there and do an enforcement. That's the goof. Again, it would be easier for him to pay the $75 and have things work very smoothly than save the $75 and have us potentially have to do an enforcement. But again, that's his choice.
What was the address for that? Just so I've got that for,
107 rear R
yeah,
Carver Street.
okay, all right, thank you.
All right, so the next item on the list is the continuation as well for Robert Notario on Route 202. Anyone
That's
here for that?
DOT.
That's the new roundabout at School Street.
Yes.
Oh,
Bob,
right.
are you here?
I thought they said they were gonna reach out to us or something.
I think so at some point. Those DOT projects usually roll pretty slowly, so I would be surprised if he shows up at 2 meetings in a row, frankly. They do.
Does
take
anyone
a-
remember how we ended that? Is it already permitted?
It's in
Yeah,
the
Dave,
notes.
you have the
No.
minutes.
It's in the notes.
Not permitting.
I think they haven't submitted the formal NOI. I think they're in process of NOI at this point.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
said that they were going to be submitting one to us soon or something like that.
Okay, great. So, do you think we could probably scratch that one off our list then too? Off the continuation list and just wait till we get the NOI? Or they contact Kathy?
Yes, yes.
Dave, how I usually do that, I don't know if you or Janice has taken over, but I usually will just cross out the ones that are done. So that she knows to remove them. Or I write it out. And we have 4 minutes before we get to the public hearings. So I'll go down to administrative. Do we have any commentary?
Well, again, I think Janice is firmly on board now, and she's finding that we're in somewhat need of, how could I word this eloquently, Janice? I think we're in need of organization. So
Yeah, I've been trying to find those files. I can't find them.
I mean, physical files or the ones in E EDEP?
The ones you asked us about,
Yeah.
because some of the permits I drafted on my computer, so I would have had an old draft, and then it would have been in my email when I forwarded it to Kathy or Bill.
Yeah. Okay.
So I couldn't find some of them. I need to keep looking though.
Okay. Was there anyone else besides you two that were working on the EDEP, or is just be between you guys that there might be something to be found?
It's probably just between us, although we did have some computers in the town hall. And sometimes Wenda would work on them while we were actually there.
Okay. All right. So at some point, if you can go in and look at the EDEP in progress or whatever it's called. And Mark Stinson said that some of them had multiple copies in there. And I told him I didn't feel comfortable deleting, he said you could go by the latest one, but still, I just wasn't sure, so I thought, let's see what you guys can figure out, and then we can figure out what to do with the rest too.
Yeah. For future reference, a lot of that is actually my fault because I probably created them more than once. I think the important thing in EDEP is take advantage of the little note. There's a little space for notes. And if you put down the homeowner's name or the address or anything else pertinent to the project, I think it's really helpful. Otherwise, we have to go around just kind of clicking on numbers and hoping the one that we're looking for actually shows up. So I think if we come up with a systematic method of characterizing the notes on EDEP, it'll go a long way toward increasing our efficiency.
Okay.
Yeah, I also don't know how often we used it. I know I don't think I used it at all. I might have checked it out once or twice, but I'm not sure I ever actually issued a permit using it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them that need to be deleted. A lot of partial OOCs and partial NOIs that need to be deleted.
So basically, take the initiative to just clean slate if you think that's best.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Bill and I'll try to get what I can. Kathy said that she has other things from this year and she holds on to the files until she gets a copy of the decision or the permit or whatever, the knows that application is complete. And then hopefully I can get them over to the Concom files. But she says she doesn't have anything from last year in terms of orders or anything, that nobody sent copies on to her. So
yeah, last year was rough.
It was horrible. It was horrible.
Because we also had been adapting to not having staff.
Yeah.
So it was kind of a combination. First that happened and we were falling behind, and then COVID happened.
Oh, yeah.
Every running halt. But it's 7:30, so I guess we can jump back to the RDAs. This one for Darlene Haviland and Chris Bloom, applicant, and Kaylee Quinneville, to see whether work depicted on the plans and or map referenced are subject to the Wetlands Protection Act or jurisdiction of any municipal wetland ordinance or bylaw. With regards to the town of Granby, property is located at 193 Amherst Street, portion of Lot 4 to the north and known as Map 2B3 in the town of Granby.
Greetings, I'm back. So
Welcome.
last meeting we had on your instant discussion. I just presented that there was proposed on this property. Help
Could I ask Al to modify his speech? I can't hear half of what you're saying.
about now.
That's much better.
Yeah.
All right, we'll do that. You just have to see my face up close. I apologize.
No problem.
The project we initially presented at last meeting informally. I told you at the time that it was on my plan shown that there was no work in the 100-foot buffer, and that remains the case. There is no regrading, there is no tree cutting, there is no at all within the 100-foot buffer. And I think it was the opinion of the commission that you take a walk around, make sense. The silt fence is shown on the plan, put it to work, 100 feet. I see Bill's comments, walked the property last weekend. Bill, there are no trees to be moved within the 100 foot, and there is no fill encroachment at all within the buffer zone. The detailed grading shown on the leach area, the only regrading I know of, and that is to the south, not towards the resource area.
Okay, Al, thank you. Again, myself, Janice and David were out there a Saturday morning. Dave, you had some specific technical comments, as did Janice. Go ahead, Dave.
My only comment, and I saw your staking, Al, where the silt fence is proposed, and it's written right on the stake, no work zone. So I could see that location and also where your footing or foundation staking was, and it appeared close. But again, we see the profile of the proposed house, but I couldn't tell by looking at the existing grading where the foundations will there be a walkout basement? Will there be any grading? Because it appeared to be about 20 to 30 feet from where the house is to that no work zone.
That is correct.
So that looks possible that you can do, depending on what the proposed house is to be. But we didn't know and I hear what you're saying, that you're proposing no work to stay outside the 100-foot buffer.
Absolutely, yep.
But the drawing doesn't show any proposed grading around the house. So
No, because we see that it was going to be this grade. The only change in grading is around the septic, which is out of the buffer zone and is shown on the plan already.
I understand that, but there's no grading around the house other than the existing grading. So are we to understand that the house is literally going to embed itself into the existing grade and the existing grades won't be changing?
That is what the general contractor told me.
Okay.
Okay, Janice, any comments on your end? Janice? No.
Not me.
Someone's getting a phone call. Janice,
Yeah,
could you just summarize your comments for Al?
Yeah, I think for the most part, he's answered them. Wasn't sure about what was happening in the 100-foot buffer. We also had a question about the steepness of the driveway. Officially, it's not in our jurisdiction, except that it may end up washing water and ice down to the road, public road. So we're just wondering what you were doing about that.
As you know, I'm not a driveway engineer and I never pretend to be one on TV. As I am told by the general contractor, they're going to grade, and when you get down to the grade near the road and I'm measuring now in CAD, maybe 30 feet within the road, it's almost flat. So I do not just looking at that, see a huge problem. I think that could be taken up with the town building inspector or highway department. You've got a real knowledgeable highway department head there, and you know, whatever he would request of the you know, the folks taking on the building, I'm sure they would agree to. So I guess I don't see it. I do see the slope into the property, but as we get close to Amherst Street, it really, the contour is really pretty far apart.
Okay.
Okay. So Al, pursuant to the RDA, you're looking for a negative determination. So the question for the commission is it going to be a -1, which would be buffer zone? But Al, you're arguing it's not even buffer zone, correct?
Correct.
So you're arguing for a -1. A -1 is a non-buffer zone negative determination.
That would be correct.
Okay.
So this is Ed talking right now. I have the floor. Can I talk real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Of course, Ed.
Sure. So, I mean, I'm taking a look at the plan, and I think Dave's comments about the grading around the house are well pointed out. I would have to agree with Dave that there needs to be some grading around the house. I don't think the contractor who's telling Al he can just put it there and everything's honky-dory. I don't think that's going to happen, but you know, who's the general contractor doing this?
So two things. No, those are good questions. Two things. I don't have all the information. As you know, I was the septic designer, and I asked a question, and they said they were putting the house at grade. The contractor is Mr. Bloom, and the excavator is Mr. Bradway. And hold on, let me just finish one other thing. I do see your point. Obviously, you know, most houses have some regrading right around the foundation, but I will add, I still don't see any of that in any way, shape, or form affect buffer your jurisdiction.
Sure. So where your pipe's coming out of the foundation wall, you got an elevation of 106.75. I'm
That's right.
assuming 4-inch pipe.
That's right.
So the elevation in that general area that's coming out is 108. Not
That
much
is-
cover on the pipe.
Yep.
I mean, and the driveway it comes up to elevation 115 and it drops back down to 110. So it's going to shed water into the garage. So that whole area's got to be cut and filled. So
I don't disagree with you, but I will restate again that that's over 200, that's nearly 200 feet from the resource area. I don't disagree with your comments here at all, but I'm just saying.
I'm just saying if we inspect the project in the future and that area's been worked, then you know that's going to be an issue, I think. But I think Dave's point well taken. I mean,
How much, Al, would you be able to arrange to have the contours around the foundation sketched in? Would you be able to do that yourself or have the contractor do it?
They would have to give me more architectural information, but again, this is beyond the jurisdictional area. I have to go back to that.
Al, if I could jump in with your comment about non-jurisdictional, you're within 20 feet of your do not work zone, okay? So depending on where that foundation is located, you could easily have a grading pattern that would go into that no work zone. So the plan doesn't show it, and I agree with you.
Nope.
But the plan's not complete in our view.
The no work means no work, though. They're going to have to figure out to regrade around this house in a way to not go past that 100-foot line.
Okay.
That's what
they can do that. That's great.
Back to you. I just don't have enough information. So the reality.
We appreciate your perspective here. Obviously, you only have what you have.
Right. That's right, Dave. So, I mean, I know it's out of our jurisdiction. It's beyond the 100-foot buffer zone, but I'd like to see the end result of this. But I think there's going to be some issues in the future, and it's certainly around the front of the garage. It's going to be some issues, but that's neither here nor there. But
it seemed to me on site from the edge of the pavement, 30 or 40 feet west into the property, you picked up about 15 or 20 feet of elevation, in my opinion. Again, I didn't bring a transit out there, but boy, it seemed to me to be rather steep. And again, that's going to be between you and Mr. Briggs and Mr. DeRocher. But, okay, Al, well, I guess we're going to take you at your word on this grading.
Again, I only have the information I've been given.
Yeah, I know. Janice, in your opinion, I trust you've been through this situation in the past on some of your projects. Typically, what does the commission do in this situation?
I think normally we require at least a good stiff erosion control barrier for that limit of work. And then the contractors know they're not supposed to go beyond it, whether it's silt fence and some kind of wattle or bales or something, or just something that's sturdy enough if there were a problem to keep things from going below it, and it'd be visible so people could fix it. You know,
Okay,
that's all you can do.
There is a design on the drawing, so is that adequate?
Here, that's correct.
I don't have the drawing in front of me right now, but
Oh.
is it just silt fence, Alan, or what?
It's a silt fence in the water.
Okay, all right, that's good.
Okay, so it's a silt fence backed up with straw. Okay, very good.
With
Okay,
fence backed up with straw, and they can use a water in lieu of the straw bale.
okay.
Okay.
Straw bale. No, I agree with you completely.
Very good. Okay,
One thing-
folks, so again,
Yeah.
Al's looking for a -1. And again, if we issue a -1 and they work into the buffer, then that becomes a violation. Al, you see what we're saying? It's
And-
actually safer to go under a -3, but again, you're arguing that it's not going to encroach on the buffer at all. So I move we issue a -1 in this circumstance.
I'll second it, Bill.
Any further discussion?
Is the silt fence already installed? Bill?
No, no.
No.
Okay, so we'll need to inspect that prior to construction.
Okay,
Okay, we'll make that a condition. Thanks, Ed.
I don't
Okay,
think we
all-
can make any conditions with this selection of -1.
You're right there, Amanda. Technically speaking, you're right.
Well, they have to come back for a
Actually-
building permit.
I might be looking in the wrong section. Let me just double check.
I can make
Oh,
that.
what?
You might request of your building inspector to have that silt fence put up in the permit condition, but that's up to you.
Yeah, I can talk to Mr. Briggs about that.
Under our
Good.
building permit, we have to sign off on the building permit, so, we can inspect it then, I guess, or make that part of the condition.
Yeah, just put a little note in on the building permit.
Yep.
And I
Okay,
will state what you said, Bill, that, they're very clear that they cannot touch within the 100-foot.
right. Okay, fair enough. Okay, again, we'll go out prior to breaking ground and make sure the silt fence is properly installed. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Taking a roll call on this one.
Yeah, you probably should do the roll call. It's
We
official.
need roll call.
okay, Ed,
Yes.
want to go first? Okay. Dave,
I'll say yes, approve.
Bill,
Aye.
and Amanda. Yes. We don't have anyone else, right?
Kevin, yes.
Oh,
Kevin,
Kev's
sorry.
here. Hey, Kev.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah, I've been on the phone. My internet's not working at home for whatever reason.
Ah,
I don't think you can hear me, Eve. This is Wenda.
Oh, Wenda's here too.
Wenda. Wenda, are you in the building? Wenda, are you in the building tonight?
I am.
Oh,
Thank
wonderful.
you.
Thank you for doing that. Thank you so much for doing that.
All right, so it passes.
Okay, Al, you're all set.
Thank you, folks. Good night.
Very
Good
good.
night.
Good evening.
Night. All right, next item on the list. This is a continuation. This is actually one of the ones that Janice mentioned in her email as missing. It has not been issued yet. So this is an NOI for 165-0340 filed by Nathan Booten for proposed driveway culvert with regards to property located on Center Street and known as map 8A10 in the town of Granby. So we had been waiting on reflagging because the wetlands extended much farther than what was previously flagged.
This project has been stagnant for at least the last 7 or 8 months now.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think there's a
Might
for
have been a whole
sale.
year.
sign.
there is a for sale sign on it.
Yeah. So I don't know if we want to talk to the applicant, see if they want to, withdraw
withdraw.
or continue, because we need to get some positive moving forward. Cause it's
Yeah.
constantly this.
Janice, would you be able to do that on our behalf?
I could, but I don't want to call from my personal phone. I can send a letter.
Okay. Actually, just remind me during the week and I'll send an email or something. Actually, Mr. Booton has an email, so you could actually email him.
If I create a Granby Concom email, again, I don't want to use my private email
Okay,
and it would
no,
look
that's fine.
rather
No, that's
strange,
fine.
you know?
You know, the thing is, there is a Granby Concom email that exists. It hasn't been used in years. And frankly, I don't know how to access it, but it does exist.
Mhm.
Would Kathy know how to use it or get to it?
Boy, I think the last time I used it, Dave, it was on Outlook and you had to use our old 2004 Sony Vaio with Outlook to access it.
Oh,
So it's not even on the cloud. It's actually
No, it won't
machine
work.
specific. So that's a problem.
It's probably dead.
Yeah.
I was wondering who to get permission from to create like a Granby Concom Gmail account that you folks
I
would
actually
also
created
access.
one already.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I created it a while back for this very reason,
Yeah.
but I have to look it up and I'll send it to you.
Oh,
once I
okay.
remember what the password is.
Excellent.
Super.
Excellent.
Thank you. And then
So
I
yeah,
can
I'll do that.
communicate. Okay.
Yes.
I need to find out if I'm signing off.
Wenda, how many people are in the building with you?
Two.
Well, there's two people there.
What are they there for?
Well, I think Charles Smith said he was there. Maybe he
We
left
already-
already.
Yes, that's the permit. I need to find out if I have to sign.
Okay.
We'll just tell the building, we'll tell Griggs, Bill, won't you?
Yeah, I'll talk to Briggsy tomorrow. I'll tell Briggs that Charles Smith South Street is good to go.
I also have Darlene Happ.
Yeah, that's the one we were just talking to with Al Weiss, the Amherst Street property.
That should
She's
be all set.
approved.
Yeah, tell her it's approved.
Approved. So do I sign off on this other building permit?
What building permit?
Mr. Smith.
173 South Street with,
No, we're gonna talk to Briggs tomorrow.
I mean, she can sign it though, can't she? We were just calling Briggs because usually we don't have someone to sign.
That's true. If she has a hard copy of the document, she could sign on our behalf right now.
For South Street.
Yeah.
okay.
That's good. Thank you.
Is Amherst Street still there? Are they asking for a building permit at this point? Wenda?
You have to provide that form to us to sign. I don't know if a new assistant can sign or not.
No, it's
No.
best not to have Janice sign at this point.
Okay. So how does she
Are
get
we,
the permit?
are we talking about 193 Amherst Street right now?
No,
Sounds like it.
we're talking about South Street, I think, aren't we?
No, they're jumping
No.
back and forth.
Amherst Street.
we have to go through the formal RDA, DOA issuance situation. So we need physical signatures. And again, Kathy has authority to sign on my behalf, and I urge some of the other commissioners to do the same. Otherwise, we're going to have to physically drive around and sign a piece of paper, which I think in this day and age is a bit arcane.
Yes.
Do you
So-
want me to fill out the determination and then
Yes, please.
send it? Who do I send it to? To Kathy or what?
Send it to everybody, Janice. Send it to
Okay.
everybody.
Okay.
Oh, well, we want it to go to Kathy though, so that she knows to sign it for us, right?
Oh, yeah. But at least if we all get it, we can all review it. So when Kathy
Yeah.
calls us about it, we'll say, oh, yes, we've looked at it. Sign on my behalf, please. Thank you.
Okay.
That's good, Janice. Thank you. Yeah, we got to come up with a systematic way of dealing with these virtual issues. And again, melding the virtual world with the real world is somewhat not as easy as you might think.
And especially when I don't have a working printer at the office.
Well, you couldn't get the printer to work?
Well, what do I attach it to? Does it go
Well,
by
that's
itself?
true. Well, we got it. That's another thing. Again, I'm gonna call Jay Joyce this week to see if he does consulting for Microsoft, Janice. He's a former selectman, and he can usually get a deep discount on computers. If he does not, he cannot do that. I will get a computer the next week for you, okay?
Okay. All right. Good. Thank
I'll
you.
do that. Yeah, I'll do that. Very good. Thank you.
Get that form and get it signed off everywhere. You have to get there's a signature from every department on that. So you get it from the building inspector.
Wait, I think she's confusing things. Wenda, are you still talking about Amherst Street?
I think she's talking to the applicant.
No, I understand. But is she talking to her about the Amherst Street project?
Yes,
'Cause
Amherst Street.
I don't recall us having a building permit as well as a DOA. We typically just do the DOA, correct?
Yes.
And that covers it?
Sounds like Star Trek.
No, this is.
That's great.
This is Shirley. I'm the one interested in the Amherst Street. I just need to know what I need to do from here.
Okay, so you're 193 Amherst Street, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so Janice, who is now our staff, will be preparing the permit form, and then she's gonna send it to all of us and Kathy Leonard with Town Hall. And Kathy will be granted permission from all the commissioners to sign it on our behalf. And then she will let you know when it's ready to be picked up.
Perfect. So all I have to do is wait to hear from Kathy Leonard.
Yes.
And then there's a building
Thank you
permit.
so much.
Wait, Ed, she needs both?
She'll need a building permit sign off from us and the
That's
Board of
right.
Health, Historical Commission, Police, Fire. And at that point, we're on the building permit, we're going to say we need to inspect the silt fence prior to construction. And the building inspector will be notified of that.
Okay, I just don't remember us ever signing a building permit when we were already issuing a different permit. Like when we're,
Oh, yeah. No, we've issued building permits with certificates of, or our notices and all that stuff, yeah. That's a separate permit.
So
Never
my
seen
job is to wait to hear from Kathy Leonard, correct?
Yes.
That form from the building inspector.
And again, they'll be contacting me.
For our decision, yes. For the building permit, you initiate the building permit.
By contacting Kathy Leonard?
For our stuff, For the building permit's a separate issue. That's a building permit with the building commissioner. We will need to sign that permit from the building commissioner. So that's another permit.
Okay, so I'll ask Linda how to contact the building commissioner.
Yeah,
It's
his
over at
number is
the senior center.
467-7179.
Once again,
467-7179.
and that's the form I could get on the website?
I don't think it's on the website. I've never seen it on the website.
Just
It could be.
telephone him in the morning. He's in the office between, I think, 7 o'clock and 10, and then he's back after lunch.
Do you have his phone number or his address?
It's
That's his
it's
phone.
it's 10B
That's the phone
West
number.
State Street.
Once again with the address?
It's 10B, number 10B West State Street, Granby.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Where the senior center is.
Oh, the senior center, okay. Senior center. So I either call him or I show up to get this form. Okay,
Yes,
all right, thank you. I
welcome.
have no idea what I'm doing. Glenda, is that all you need from me?
So,
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, up next, we have,
yeah, I have because my septic system failed, so.
oh, okay. Next one we have is gravel permits. Did we receive those?
All right, have a good night.
Yes, they came in the email this afternoon.
Okay, great. So we have to set up site visits for those?
Right.
Yeah, there's just 2 of them right now.
Okay, and when do we think we want to try and have that set up? Or are we just going to ask Janice to call them and find a time?
I can't call them yet. I don't have a way to
Okay,
call
right.
them with a phone.
Yeah.
That's why I haven't done it. It's like, it gets really frustrating, but I really don't want to use my personal phone for it.
Yeah.
We use our personal phones all the time.
Well, I think it's best if Janice has a track phone.
That would be fine. We
Yeah,
do
we
that?
gotta go up to Walmart. I'll go up to Walmart and get a track phone while I'm getting the computer.
Okay, so should we just say that when Janice gets a phone, she can call them and set up a site visit?
Yeah, that's fair.
And then email us with the date?
Yep.
I think
Yep.
Saturday mornings are our preferred time, so if
Yep.
that's possible, that's
Yep.
kind of the goal.
Okay.
Because we have a month until our next meeting, so I'm hoping you'll have a phone before then.
Yeah, I hope so. And so far it's just Andrick and Orland. So I'll check with Kathy maybe, or somehow check. I found a couple of old folders when I was looking for other things last week, and there were originally 6 different gravel pit permits, and then maybe some of them have expired, maybe some of them haven't. Some of them had names, some just had addresses. So I haven't figured out all of that. But I imagine Kathy could tell me, like last year, that they were.
She might be able to.
Yeah. Okay.
It's all a mess, so, yeah.
But so what do you do on these gravel pit things? I mean, one of them is a big one that's like 25 megabytes, and it has lots of information and plans and stuff like that. The other's just a few pages. I guess maybe one is closer to wetlands or more involved with wetlands than the other, but what do you guys do when you go out there? What are you looking for or what?
We typically just walk the site and just make sure that, it doesn't seem like anything is being degraded, I
Okay.
guess.
Okay.
I kind of learned on the job, so we
Yeah.
typically would just walk around.
Okay.
I normally take photographs, panoramic photos of the operating areas so that we can compare it year over year.
Okay.
Good idea to do that.
All right.
Okay, good.
So, are we ready to move on to the next item? I'm gonna go with yes.
I am.
So 7:45, we have something about associated wrecking. What is this?
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Steve Hill. I'm a project manager for Associated Building Records, and I have a customer at 49 Aldrich Street. You probably all know the barn. Kid Aldrich's barn is ready for collapse. And as you may know or may not know, it runs along the edge of Bachelor Brook. So we're looking to find out what we need to do to get a wetlands permit started in order to begin the demolition.
Is it actually the grist mill that you're talking about, the one that's all roped off?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally right on the water, right on the water.
Which side, when you say grist mill, Janice, that's on one side, 49 Aldrich is on the other side of the street, isn't it, Steve?
Yeah, I'm sorry. 49 is Kit's address. The barn is directly across the street from his home.
That's right. That's
So
right.
the house is not what you're talking about, which is on the water. You're actually talking
We're
about the grist.
barn.
You're talking about the grist. When you say barn, it's actually known in town as the grist mill, and it's the old grinding mill. That's not on any sort of a historic that's not on any historic register or anything like that.
Hmm.
It'd be nice if it were. It would save a lot of aggravation, but
No, I'm a little surprised that that's actually the subject property. That particular structure has been a landmark in town for quite a long time. And I'm surprised that the owners are proposing to take it down.
Well, we're actually under contract. That barn is beyond repair. The northwest corner of the foundation is collapsed.
Yep.
And it's just going to be a matter of time. And I don't know whether the bridge construction had anything to do with it. I know the bridge abutment is part of that foundation now. So there needs to be some town engineering involved. And certainly, because I know we're right on some running water, that conservation is obviously going to need to be involved here.
yeah, I think, Steve, I think at the very least, you're going to need to file for a notice of intent. We won't RDA this one. You're going to NOI this one. We're going to, from an operational point of view, we want to make sure that neither soil particles, namely fines, silts and fine sands, don't end up in the river. And we don't want any construction debris to end up in the river. And I suspect, and the commission is probably going to want to see a construction sequence. We're going to want to know exactly what your sequence is going to be, just so that we can all work together to minimize the exposure of the river to these deleterious effects. Now, have you engaged a consultant, or are you going to do it yourself, your own company?
We would probably, if you were to issue an order of conditions and it required, which I'm sure it will, silt fence, hay bales, straw wattle, anything along those lines, we would do that installation.
So the consultant is for the delineation of the resource areas and for preparing the NOI filing. So this is, I believe this is gonna be a riverfront project. So that
Yeah,
means the entire area is resource.
Yeah, it's
It is a-
literally, actually, I think the best delineation approach for this is looking at an aerial photograph, because literally the edge of this foundation is probably within 5 feet of the running water. Steve, is that not correct?
Yeah, it's less.
Yeah,
The foundation
so,
of his barn
Right
is
on.
the bank.
Right.
yeah, so that's gonna be it's gonna be a very, complicated project, as you mentioned, with engineers and the bridging and all of that, the bridge stuff. You're gonna want a consultant to help craft and make sure you're accounting for all the resource area disturbance and meeting all the performance standards. Because that means that now you've got bank, possibly land underwater. Who knows how many other resource areas are gonna be impacted by this work.
What's
Yeah,
your time schedule? I think you wanted to get this done by the end of this year. I don't know if that's going to actually be feasible, but what's your realistic timeline for this, Steve?
Well, Mr. Aldrich would like to get going as soon as possible. Demolition is, we try to make it an exact science. I can't look at this barn or grist mill and tell you it's going to last another winter.
Mm-hmm.
Our means and methods will be, we would have a crane in the road for 2 days. That crane would knock the building down into its foundation, and then we would load it out with tractor trailers and excavators.
Okay. All right. So you're going to have to put
the
some
stone and the brick, Mr. Aldrich would like to leave on site on that bank.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. So the protective measures, they're probably going to be protective measures in the river and adjacent to the river. Janice, have you seen any project of this sort in your travels in South Hadley?
We've had some similar things, and depending on, if it was a real bridge, then you have to have something actually hanging below it to catch possible debris and fine stuff. But this is side by side. I don't know exactly how to do it, if they're going to have to maintain or retain, I guess, part of that foundation for the road. That's certainly the tricky part too.
Bill, the closest thing in South Hadley would be with the new public library, the old Texon building, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
When the Texon building came down, they tried to save it, but there's just no way.
Yeah.
And I think part of the foundation's still there up against the canal.
I think you're right
that's
on
correct. I bid on that project.
Yep.
Right.
And I actually supervised or monitored it. Yeah. So I had forgotten about that one. And they did do the same thing where you just crumbled everything into the foundation footprint and then pulled it out, and it worked. But
yeah,
I'm not, you just have more complications with the roadway as well, I think, to deal with. So,
oh, there's definitely a road shutdown, like I said, for a couple of days. Police details as we load the debris out. I don't really have any concern about the demolition. I mean, our company's been doing this for over 85 years. So we've done this consistently time and time again. The demolition is certainly no problem for us. We just wanted to get out ahead of any of the NOIs or other Conservation Commission requirements that Mr. Aldrich would have to pay attention to.
Yeah, Bill, I agree with you. I think that the quickest is an NOI. I don't think there's any way of getting around this without an NOI.
Yeah, and I agree with Amanda. Hire a professional to do your permitting. That's the easiest way to do this. It might cost you a few extra dollars, but I think it's a simple way to do it.
Yeah, Mr. Aldrich has already told me he'll be looking to employ Ward Smith to write that plan.
Okay, good enough. Ward's a good, very, very good consultant.
Okay.
So just to, help speed this along, what is internally for commissioners, what is our deadline for submitting an NOI to be heard at the next hearing? Because we have monthly hearings, so obviously if you're on a time crunch, we're not looking at the next meeting until November 9th.
Yeah.
And the one after that is going to be December.
Yeah,
So-
Dave,
Yeah.
if you could review our new submission protocol quickly, if you would.
I think that was 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, we gave them, basically it's a 2-week window, so I don't know if it's possible to create the NOI within 2 weeks to hit the November 9th meeting date. So we would be looking at, let's see. Basically, we could have the NOI by the week of the 25th, October 25.
So that's 13 days.
Yeah, it's only because we're on Tuesday, so it's less than 2 weeks notice for them. And I don't know if that's doable.
Mr. Is it Hill?
Yeah, we can only reach out and see how well it goes, you know. If
Right,
it's
right.
possible, it's possible. If it's not, it's not.
Is there a survey? I mean, we would need to see a plan that's correct in terms of the distance between the footprint of the building and the stream, the river or whatever, and just to, you know, have a good idea of where things are going to be,
Sure.
work is going to be done and
Ye-
stuff like that.
Yeah, nothing has been written yet. Just we wanted to talk to the commission first before we went and spent a bunch of Mr. Aldrich's money on this.
Yeah, actually, if you look at Google Earth Street View and plant yourself on top of the bridge, you'll have a perfect view of the situation.
Yeah, I agree. I have it open.
What about the weir? Is that coming out the big metal pipe?
Oh, the wheel's long gone, I think, isn't it?
Long gone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's talking about the
Here.
pipe though.
Pipe.
She's not
Oh,
talking about.
the axle for the wheel?
No,
Penstock, probably.
Oh, the
Penstock.
penstock. The penstock's still in place. You're not going to affect that, are you?
that's not part of the barn.
Well,
I know it's heavily corroded. That's all I know.
I've been in that basement. I did not see a penstock.
Actually, it crosses the road. It's actually about 50 feet southwest of the building.
You can
It's
see it
not that
coming.
obvious.
Big
You
pipe.
can see it on one end.
Yeah, actually, if you have a high-res photograph, you can actually see the outline of the penstock because it does the crown of the pipe actually does go above grade at a couple of points.
Well, as it gets down to the Aldridge Creek there, it's exposed.
Oh yeah, but it just the outfall is about 100 feet below the building. I think when they do work on the building, the penstock will not be in play whatsoever on this. But again, take a look at the photographs, and when we do the site visit, we can evaluate that as well.
I think another thing that the commission may want to have some idea on is what's going to happen to that afterwards. That sort of makes a difference in terms of how the site is left. Not that you need the full plans, but just some idea of what's going to happen.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they've hired a civil structural engineer to actually come up with a game plan in terms of slope stability and
Yeah.
erosion control for the finished site. So again, you're right. I don't know what the fate of the finished site's going to be, but that's something Mr. Hill and Mr. Campagna will come up with at some point.
Okay.
Yeah, our contract right now is just to get rid of the debris, get rid of the brick, and leave the natural stone rubble there in place as to what Mr. Aldrich intends to do with that parcel after. I'm not privy to that.
Okay.
Okay, well, good. Well, I'm glad you stopped by this evening just for as an introductory
Yeah,
chit
yeah,
chat
I
to
appreciate
at
the
least
time.
see what get us ready for this, because as Amanda said, this is a complicated little project.
It's got some constraints to it for sure. And probably more complicated on your end, I guess, than mine.
That's right. Yeah, I think on the permitting end, it's actually more complicated than
For sure.
on the demo end. But again, we all got to work together on these projects. But thank you so much for stopping by.
Yeah, anytime. So we need to get Ward Smith on an NOI into you right away.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
That's what we're gonna do.
You can also schedule, like a site visit before the meeting. Once you guys have some of the stuff, the details of the NOI figured out, because that might also help expedite it, so we don't have to do a site visit, afterwards and push things back farther.
Okay. Who do I get
that
in
might
touch
be-
with to schedule that?
Kathy Leonard is a good point of contact right now until we have, Janice set up with everything. Kathy's our usual
Okay.
contact.
Okay.
Anything else from any of the other commissioners?
Any other questions for me?
No, again, thank you for stopping by.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
we'll be talking soon, I think.
Okay, very good. Good luck.
Take care. Have a good night.
You too.
You
Thank you.
too. Take care. All right, next item on the agenda is, we were doing commentary. I think we got through that mostly. Post the next meeting, which is for November 9th at 7 PM. Yep, November 9th. And the minutes from last meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review those?
Just so everybody knows, Janice brought to my attention a couple very good comments, but I'm unable at this point to incorporate those comments because of the nature of what she's talking about is better definition of project sites and things of that sort. So I think it's a work in progress. It's not going to affect the September 14th minutes. So everybody that has a copy that says draft across that, we're looking for your approval tonight so I can release these to Kathy Leonard so they can be posted.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Fine.
Dave, was this part of the agenda? Was this listed in as an agenda item to vote on this?
Yes, it is. It's right.
Yep.
It's approved minutes is number 3.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. Okay.
Yep.
Would it be too much, Dave, to ask you just to briefly read the entire, it's a 1-page document?
We're talking about the minutes right now.
The minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about the protocol. Okay.
Oh, no. The minutes is what I'm talking
Okay.
about.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm all set with the minutes. So I'm gonna make a motion that we approve them as written.
Second.
Okay, great.
Any commentary? All right, then we can take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone
I abstain.
abstain?
I haven't read it.
Okay, Wenda abstained, I think.
Yep.
I haven't read them.
No problem. I got you, Wenda.
All right, great, so that's approved. Next item is bills to pay. Do we have anything?
Yes, Janice submitted a bill this afternoon.
And also Kathy sent on those 2 from Emily, and I didn't know if those are already taken care of, or if there was a reason why she sent them to us. It was included in that group email.
I don't have it open in front of me, but was one of them, one of Emily's, Janice, related to Eversource project?
I think so. I can find it. It was like 900 and then maybe 700. There were 2.
Oh, okay. I know we approved the 900. I'd have to take a look at the $700 one.
Let's see. So the first one was Stockman. I'm trying to see what it was for. That was a $900 one. It doesn't say directly. Oh, I see.
I see it. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Attending the meetings, lot 2. Okay, so that was the one we just had the appeal on.
Yes,
Lot-
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then
So
the
it's-
other, yeah.
One's lot 1, one's lot 2.
Oh, yes,
I think
okay,
that's what
yep.
they are.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. And they're both dated August 26, 2021.
Mhm.
I make a motion that we approve both of these, one for 900 and one for 700.
And those are to be paid out of the escrow account, is that true?
You mean out of the peer review? Was there a peer
Yes,
review escrow?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, as long as it's out of the TPR account, I'll approve that.
What does TPR stand for?
It's technical peer review. That's
okay.
Emily's. Emily doesn't call it peer review. She calls it TPR, technical peer review.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so do we have a second?
Abel seconded.
All right, all in favor? Oh, any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
I,
Aye. All right, anyone oppose? Anyone abstain? Hearing none. All right. So those are approved. Next, financial accounts update. Any update?
Just, did you want, I know I just sent this to Bill this afternoon, my hours for September, and it's okay if you want to
Oh,
wait
yeah.
October.
No,
to
no,
do 'em.
no.
yeah,
We can go back.
let's vote on those right now.
It was
Yeah.
10.5 hours, so it came to 260, 250. It was I did a starting date of September 14th. It wasn't clear. I never actually received any notification that everything was approved. So I chose that date because that's the date that I met with Bill out at the office, and we went over things, and I had turned in all my forms to Kathy and stuff. So that's the day I started from.
Very good.
That's good.
Sounds good.
Okay, I move we pay Janice the 262.50.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
And
And
what
again,
do you,
this,
yeah, what
again,
do you
this
take
comes
that out of?
this comes out of our administrative fees account. It comes out of, Janice, what's the proper nomenclature for those type of accounts?
I'm not sure I know what it is. Is this for your site visits? Is that what you said? That it's
Yes. Yeah. We're paying you out of the administrative account that is typically used for administering the Wetlands Protection Act. This is not the land acquisition account. This is the administrative
Yeah.
account. I kind of
And
call it the fees account because it's funded through our fees.
Oh, does that include like the notices of intent fees, those
Yes,
sort of things
yes,
too? Oh,
yes,
okay, okay.
Yes. So
Yeah,
we want to be clear that you're paid out of the correct account.
Yeah. Okay.
Very, very good.
All right. Next item. Were we good there? Yeah. Okay. So next item is financial account updates. I think Wendo would have seen them if she's at the office. And if not, that's fine. We'll just... Yeah, do you have them? Do they look good?
I don't know. We've never been able to figure out how to read them, so.
As long as we got money to pay Janice, that's all I care about.
I mean, we have them, so I guess that's good. All right, so next item. Outreach education plan for the week.
Yeah, no, just a quick aside. That's why we have to be very vigilant collecting our $75 site visit fees because those add up. And if we opt not to collect 2 or 3 of these a month, that's $200 or $300 a month. So we got to be really careful and really, Janice, that will actually be part of your assignment to keep good books, make sure we're billing these people and collecting our money on these sort of things.
That's what I hope to do, starting with just creating a list. And I had talked to Dave also about, you know, doing a site visit form, just so that we have a paper trail too of the site visits that were done.
Good, good.
Because right now I'm not in the
Yep,
loop,
that would
so
be
I
good.
have no idea, you know, if any people are
Yeah, we
You know,
have multiple forms that we used to use all the time, and they've all fallen to the wayside.
You know, case in point, we did 2 site visits for Mr. Alan Katowitz about a month ago, and those were $75 site visits. And I don't know if those monies have been collected. I have no idea. So
Probably
these are
not
the
if you
sort of
haven't-
things we have to be diligent about.
No,
Okay. I'll try to make a list and check it by you from just the little bit I've known from the last month or two, and then check with Kathy on them to see what
Okay.
the sense is.
Janice, you should also know the minutes describe all the site visits that we know about. Every now and then, a site visit will
Yeah.
pop up.
Right.
Like the one we did at Amherst Street did not appear, I don't think, last month.
Mhm.
But
And then
normally our site visits are identified today at tonight's meeting, though we'll talk about it.
Okay. And then, but the Plazak was scheduled for September 25th, and then he canceled that one.
He canceled that, right?
Yeah, so I've got to keep track of new ones as well as ones that were on and didn't come through for one reason or another. So I guess maybe I'll be in touch with you, Dave, because you seem to have the best handle on the site visit information.
Right now.
Good. No, very, very good. Very good.
All right, so, outreach plant of the week. I'm
Oh, good,
sharing
you
my
got it.
screen.
It's a sensitive fern
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
versus a rude fern.
Yes, this is a sensitive one. And I figured I'd start with one that's pretty easy. And Dave and I saw a bunch of this out at one of the site visits on Saturday. It's usually found in wetlands, but occasionally it migrates into damp areas, roadsides, and things like that. It's considered a wetland plant by most lists, but it does occasionally appear elsewhere. And I just have a picture. I think that was actually taken from Phillips Circle. Or no, maybe it was another place. But anyway, it was in the last week or so. So they turn white and then they fade in the winter. And they're sort of roughly cut. They're sort of triangular and a wavy edge. And they're probably the most common wetland fern that you'll see around. And the little bottom right picture is what their fertile fronds look like. And those stay through the winter. And you probably notice those in the woods. They last till the next spring, till the plant comes back up and makes new ones and stuff. So it's definitely a wetland plant, but occasionally may be in an area that does not actually qualify as wetland.
Yeah, those little,
Here, I have a bag of all kinds of grasses. I brought in all the books that I used to have for conservation, and they're here to be used or whatever it takes.
yeah, I had one anecdotal comment about the sensitive fern, about the winter froms. Growing up in Eastern Mass, we lived next door to a florist, and he'd go out back in the back meadow and pick those in the winter, and he'd use those in bouquets, and he'd refer to them as frim-froms. Those are known as frim-froms locally. This was over 50 years ago, but
They
very
are
good.
beautiful.
Good. Oh, they are. Janice, if you could do one of these every week, every month, that would be terrific. But this is like a very fine presentation here.
Good. It started anyway. And I wanted to finally, I'd had too many times I had bowed out. So I figured I've got to do one,
Yeah.
Get
Well,
started.
yeah, many more to come. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay. Not leaving the meeting. Trying to close the screen share. Well, I can't seem to figure out how to make this stop.
Oh,
Well,
no.
we'll just look at sensitive fern for the next few minutes. That's fine.
Yeah, that works.
Okay.
Oh, I think I found it. All right,
Okay.
next item. I couldn't open up the agenda with it like that. Okay, so news and announcements. Anything? No. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's pretty quiet. Oh, the only news I have is we did our visit with DEP in West Street a few days
Oh.
ago. It's still in process, so we really can't say much about it, but I think we had a productive meeting and the decision on behalf of DEP is in process. That's all I can really say at this point.
That's true. Did you want me to say anything about the site visit that Dave and I took to 0 Phillips Circle?
Oh, please do.
Yeah, that'd be great, Jan.
There were just, when we went there were a number of things that need some attention. One is, the weirdest one for me is that there are 2 sets of silt fences that actually cross each other in the field. I don't know why one of them is there. It doesn't really make any sense. And then we also measured several areas, the wetland flag to the silt fence, and it's supposed to be 50 feet. And in several places it was over 50 feet, somewhere between 50 and 60, but one place it was 39 feet. So I don't know if people were just sort of eyeballing it or what they were doing, but they're going to have to deal with that. And there were no permanent monumentations next to any of the wetland flags. And we also couldn't find wetland flags 8, 9, 10, 11, maybe it was 12 or something. We walked along the edge of the wetland in that broad, fairly open area, and we did not find any wetland flags after number 7. Oh, and then the last thing was that at number 7, there's a pin in the double topped maple or something, which Dave found, amazingly enough. And it's supposed to be the 100-foot. It's supposed to be across from the 100-foot edge of wetland, and it wasn't as described. It just didn't make sense. It was in the wetland area rather than in the field.
Jan, if I could jump in there.
Yes, do that.
The plan shows that particular tree in the middle of the property.
Oh, yes.
And in fact, it's on the edge of the tree line. So, and it's supposed to be relatively close to wetland flag number 7. And it had to be, like Jan, it was like 100 feet away in a different direction. So the plan didn't exactly match. And as Janice says, the plan shows 1 silt fence, and there's clearly 2 silt fences on the property. And it looks like one was put in incorrectly, and they just didn't remove it. They just put another one in. And as she points out, they actually crossed each other.
And then on top of that, also, there are a couple more things, and this comes back to the orders of conditions things, but they're supposed to confirm, give us the book and page of their recorded order of conditions, and they need to put a sign up that at the street side with the DEP file number. So for one of those pieces, it looks like the order may not have been actually issued, but I think probably the best thing to do would be to find the best version of it and issue it now through DEP. I don't know what you guys think.
Let me just check my email real quick.
Sure.
Yeah, Ed and I are both recused on this project, so that's why I'm silent.
That's right. Yeah. I just think that since it's just starting, we should get started on the right foot. And I did talk to Mark Stinson, and he said that's not the way things should be done, but he's seen it happen elsewhere where people have just, issued it late and didn't harass the owner or the applicant or whatever, since we're not sure where the issue was, but to just get it recorded and get, move on from there.
Yeah.
Does Amanda have an opinion? Amanda, I did see the 2 flags you had, if you remember, asked to move certain flags 10 feet apart, getting them out of the tree line. And we did see a couple areas where there were two flags that were close to 10 feet of each other. So that was reflective of your request.
Well, we actually had a peer review of that project.
Yeah, Emily did a peer review on this.
Was that
where
Based
it
on
came-
Emily's peer review.
Is that where it came from? Okay.
Yeah.
Janice, you've seen Emily's peer review on this, correct?
Yes, although I saw the conditions based on it too, but I didn't understand whether moving the flags 10 feet from the tree line meant into the field or further into the woods. I wasn't sure which way it meant.
It's supposed to all be moved further into the fields, and I'm pretty sure the 50-foot thing was for the permanent bounds.
Okay, yes. So I don't know. I thought the permanent bounds were at the wetland flags because we had a discussion. I think maybe Dave and I, when reading over the conditions.
No, we've got the actual, I printed it out,
Yeah.
and where is it now? Here it is.
Good.
Bill, you sent us a copy of the general conditions on Form 5.
Yeah, that's
And-
what I had found. I think Amanda had crafted that on EDP. I just forwarded that to you.
Right, so it says on site condition, or special condition rather, number 3, permanent markers will be installed along the new BVW boundary prior to construction start. The commission requests notice once these permanent boundaries are installed. So no boundaries are there at this point.
Amanda, you crafted that document, didn't you?
I vaguely remember it, but I can't remember when that was.
It was a while ago. But you did a nice job. It was well done.
Mm-hmm.
There's no
But
date on these sheets.
Again, what I would suggest you do, again, I'm recused on this, but this is just administrative. What I suggest you do is take a look at Emily's TPR report in conjunction with all that other information and see if you can put the pieces together.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out what happened here. I did just find like 9 permits that I sent you, Bill, at one point.
Mhm.
I just forwarded it to Janice, but I don't think it's in there. I think that's got something else in it. It is a 6 Phillip COC.
Oh, that was for a property transfer. That was a property transfer COC. That was another delinquent COC that the project was from 30 years ago. But this is 0 Phillip. This is a brand new house at the top of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, you know what this one was? I think we had issues getting the plans because Kathy had to scan them or take photos of them. We didn't have like an actual scanner. It was hard to read things. There's just so many issues we have.
Yeah.
Okay, I can't seem to find it right now.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, I think the bottom line is the commission seemed to request permanent markers be put in place prior to construction. And that's got to be done before they break ground, apparently.
Right. I have a question for you, Bill, and we're in an administrative section right now, so it's technically not a public hearing, right?
Correct.
But the document that you sent us, Janice and I, says that the work associated with this order, the project, is or is not, and the is not is checked, subject to the Massachusetts stormwater standards.
Right.
Correct. It is not subject.
And the reason is it's a single family lot. Anything less than four lots in a subdivision is not subject to stormwater.
If I could, let me finish my question for you. The sentence goes on to say, if the work is subject to stormwater standards, then the project is subject to the following conditions. And then we've got special conditions 1, 2, 3, 4. So isn't that a conflict? In other words, it should not say is not, it should say is. And if it is, then we have these conditions, but if it's checked is not, we shouldn't have any conditions.
That's right. That's a good point, Dave. Anytime we do special conditions, they should be done in a separate word attachment. That's why I never incorporate those when I write up a set of order of conditions. You're right. That is not the correct place to put those, but sometimes folks do it that way. But you hit the point. That's right on the head, Dave. That's right on the money.
Well, I was reading this. If I was the owner, I'd be saying, I'm not going to follow these special conditions because you checked the is not box.
Mhm.
Well,
I think that the next box that says choose condition, that's the one that refers to the is or is not. Those are the stormwater conditions. And then the special conditions have a line after them and they're a different section. It's very
I have it.
confusing.
That's
I
right.
have it.
That's right, Janice.
Yeah, but-
That's right.
Unfortunately, I have it right in front of me, so
Yeah, so do I. Yeah.
it's not confusing to me. So,
Well, it's just where it says choose conditions. I think those are the stormwater ones and none are chosen.
That's right.
And then after that are the special conditions, which are different from the stormwater ones.
Yep.
But it's a EDEP.
At its
Yeah.
finest.
no.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
So-
It's just confusing, I guess, is the best way to say it.
It is. There's actually there's another entry block later in the document where you could actually put in some special conditions, not related to stormwater, but it turns out when you close out and collate the document, the,
It folds, things disappear.
well, yeah, it disappears and the spacing and alignment of the text gets all screwed up. That's why it's always safer to close out and where it says add document, you put yes. And then I normally will add a Word document, which has been transferred into a PDF. That's the best way to do that.
All
Okay.
right.
Yeah. Okay. That's good.
I think as long as we have someone
I've seen it
who's
done every
tracking
way.
it, we'll be fine.
I've seen it done every which way.
So
But like
for
you
the-
say, as long as the landowner understands what we're driving at, that's the main point.
So do we know if they've received a copy of an order of conditions? They must have, right? They're asking us for the silt fence review and stuff before starting work. I'm just not sure, but you emailed the consultant and he hasn't gotten back to you, has he, Bill? Neil
Not yet.
Jackson?
Not yet.
So I'm just wondering what we should do to communicate. And then I can't really communicate until I either get the email. Probably the best thing would be to get the Concom Gmail that Amanda set up and then use that. So there's a paper trail too.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
needs to be done.
Yeah. I think your first item, the telephone or the computer, do you want to get the computer first, Janice, or you rather the telephone first?
I don't know, maybe the telephone.
Okay, maybe it'll be easier to get a track phone.
Yeah.
Yeah, all right, because I can get that up in Hadley very, very easily without too much thought.
Okay.
Let's do that first, and then I'll work on the computer later this week.
Okay.
Okay, folks. Well, good. I'm glad. Again, yeah, the document that I saw in EDEP, I think did it have the names filled in but no signatures? Is that the way it was left?
Oh, I don't remember. Because I was looking at a bunch of them.
Yeah.
There were a couple of them that I was looking at that didn't have a file number at the top and didn't have an issuance date and some stuff like that. I don't know if that was Boardway or Cropenace or both.
Okay. All right. Well, we gotta resolve these, but again, we've said this more than once. I guess it all stems down to getting hard signatures on these documents and physically getting them out of the office. And I think our best bet for mailing hard copies of the documents is give them to Kathy and let Kathy mail them using the town's U.S. postal account. That's the simplest way to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I don't think we have the time to go horsing around mailing stuff in the post office every day.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay. All right, good. Points well taken, folks.
Okay. Oh, I guess one other thing I just wanted to mention was the MACC Fall Conference. And especially for like maybe for Dave, there might be some things that would be of interest to him being sort of new. And I wasn't sure what the process was for people to be able, who might be interested, to get reimbursed, or how does that usually work, Bill? Does it come out of the budget or out of the administrative fees, or?
Yeah. Training typically comes out of our administrative fees. Kevin, are you still here? Well, I'll talk to Kevin about this as well. But like you say, the newer members would greatly benefit by going to some of these conferences. Janice, is this in person or is it virtual?
Virtual.
They're virtual, Bill.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that makes it easier yet.
It's just that there are, and I haven't reached out to Kathy yet to find out how this should happen. Do we pay the fees and then we submit a form to get reimbursed as an expense, or how does it happen? And I understand, I think the town GCC is a member, and as a commissioner of GCC, I would be paying a member fee, not a
That's right.
non-member fee.
Correct.
That's right.
If you create an account and then you sign up, they will just bill Granby. They will send Granby a bill.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's what they do for me.
Okay,
Well,
so we
now I
have,
have them send it to Framingham, but
Yeah.
yeah.
so in other words, Amanda, we shouldn't be paying anything. We should just go in as Granby commissioner, and that should be all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And typically what I've done in the past, Dave, is I've just asked Kathy to sign me up for such and such a conference and she takes care of it. Again, there's 2 or 3 ways to do it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the way I've always done it.
Right.
But like Amanda says, if you can create an account and just back charge the town, that would be fine too.
Okay. All righty. Thank you.
All right, good,
Okay.
thank you.
Janice, are you on the MACC board now or not at this point?
No, I stepped off in March.
Okay. Yeah, Janice, how many years were you on the board, Janice?
I don't know. I don't remember. Probably like 2013, something like that. Maybe 2014, somewhere around there.
Very good. Very good.
Do we
I
have
served-
any site visits to schedule for coming up?
The gravel
than-
pits.
Other than the gravel pits? I mean, I don't think anything was scheduled for the grist mill, right?
No.
Not at this time.
I didn't hear anything, so I'm just asking if anybody else heard anything.
No, I think Mr. Smith doesn't need to be seen. We issued Mr. Weiss's other project. I
Yep.
think
Did you
we're-
guys have Adam's phone number for the quarry on Chicopee Street?
Adam Ondrick.
I don't know, I have Adam Quarry, 240 Chicopee Street.
I'm sure Ed has the phone number. You probably don't want to give it over the air, but Ed, you have that number in your files
For which one?
for Adam Ondrick.
I could probably get it.
It's probably in
could
the
email-
paperwork.
Yeah, email
It's in the
that or
paperwork.
text it to Amanda or something.
Let me check the paperwork. I think you're
Yeah.
right. It's in the paperwork.
It's on the front page of the paperwork.
It is in
Yes,
the
it is.
paperwork.
We should be all set.
Okay, thank you.
I
Okay.
locked up, well, just FYI,
What?
What?
locked up the building and left. I'm at home.
Okay, good. Thank you. Thanks for going over.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
thank you for
problem.
doing that. Yeah, again, it's the select board's policy, and it's a good policy because some people aren't on the computer, and it's always good to have the door open in the building, at least have one member down there, so I appreciate that, Linda.
I
We
was
just
wondering,
need to get the Wi-Fi going.
Yeah, well,
We need to, that we have Wi-Fi.
we got many technical items to be resolved, so let's get Janice's computer and her telephone squared away first.
I was wondering too, Bill, whether to have like the walk-in hours just from 7 to 8 to limit it so someone doesn't have to be there, the whole meeting. Or is that a problem with the town? They want it open the whole time?
Yeah,
I have to stay open the whole time.
Yeah, okay.
yeah, until we adjourn the meeting. So it's 8:50. So if we leave at 8:55, then Wendy can leave at 8. Because I guess technically, if the door's locked and the meeting is still going on, then that creates a bit of a problem.
Okay. And is that because now the town more or less wants people to be meeting in person? Is that why they're requiring that?
I don't know why.
That's
I think
above
the
my
governor,
that's
it's the
above my
governor's
pay
thing.
grade.
The governor's, okayed that.
The governor said we could go until at least next April, and I got a feeling they're going to modify that to go for the foreseeable future after that.
Yeah, and at least in Hadley, we didn't have to have any anyone in the room, in the office or anything. Everything was remote.
Really?
Everybody came on that way, and if people were new to it, I send them instructions. It was for Zoom, but by now people are pretty used to all these things. It's not like it was a year or so ago. But it wasn't a requirement that there had to be someone actually in the town hall. It depends on where you post the meeting. If you post the meeting as having a physical location, then yes, you do have to do it. If you post it as being just remote, then people know they have to go on that way. But I don't want to step into the middle of things if this is a political issue.
No, I can see that. Okay, so that's what happens. So they must post the meeting at one library lane, and that's one library lane. I gotcha.
Well, there's two locations, Bill. It's at the library and it's also at the town hall up on the hill there next to the phone company. So they post, that's also a public posting place.
No, but I mean, the venue for this meeting was called out as, I think, one library lane on the document.
It is.
Okay, yeah. But like you say, if they change that to virtual only, then we could get away with not having someone in the building. But I got a feeling they want to do it this way for the foreseeable future anyway.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay.
Good comment, though. Good point, though, Janice.
Yeah.
We have a couple more minutes before 9 o'clock, and we have old business here, which includes the application protocol, which I was hoping to discuss tonight before 9 o'clock. Do we still want to do that?
Yes.
Yeah,
let's just do it.
Yes, let's get it done. Get it done.
Only thing that's left. Also, Janice, I want to apologize because I just flooded your inbox with everything I could find on Zero Phillips.
Okay, thank you.
It took, yeah. There's probably still more because nothing's ever labeled properly.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully,
So,
you make some
Dave.
sense of it. Yes, Dave.
Okay, we had prepared this back in June, and I think everybody has had a chance to see it and comment on it. And now that Janice has had a chance to look at it, she's also made some comments to me, which are beginning to circle around with comments we've already talked about and sort of discarded. So I think at this point, we're in October, heading into November. And I'd like to at least nail it down so we don't keep regurgitating this. And obviously, we had some projects that put this on the back burner. But at this point, how should I proceed? Do you want me to read it, or does everybody have a copy of it in front of them?
Actually, Dave,
read it?
if it's short enough, if you could just read it verbatim, that'll be
it is short enough. It's basically one page. It's large type, and most of it you've all seen before. But the most important thing is it's called out as application procedure, and it says all new applications are to be submitted 2 weeks prior to the desired meeting date to be placed on the agenda for that meeting. Applications submitted after this deadline will automatically be placed on the following meeting schedule. So if you miss that 2-week window, you're going to miss that opportunity to get on that agenda, and you're automatically going to go to the next meeting. It goes on to say, all information submitted for questions raised at a meeting shall be submitted 1 week prior to the next meeting for it to be reviewed prior to the following scheduled meeting. So in other words, take West Street, for example. We had many iterations of those two projects where questions came up. They were put to the applicant, and the applicant had, if you think about our meeting schedule happening every 4 weeks, roughly once a month, they would have 2 weeks to address those questions and get back to us to meet this 1 week turnaround. So, and then that's the meaning of the second paragraph. Then we have in bold type, and this is where I think Janice had a comment, all application documents and follow-up information shall be submitted in a digital PDF format. Janice's suggestion to me is we should also be getting paper because it would save the commissioners from creating documents. And I certainly know in my tenure, I would always, when I made submissions, I always had to have enough paper for every one of the commissioners. You submit that to the town, and the secretary's responsibility was to get it to the commissioners. So that's a difference. The last thing is meetings are normally held the second Tuesday of each month at 7 p.m. Please confirm the date and time with Assistant Town Administrator. And then it goes on to what Kathy has in our each of our agendas, where it says currently all meetings are being held virtually. See the link below. And it's just got the contact information for dialing to a GoToMeeting. And if you can't do that, it gives you the phone numbers with access code to use your telephone to get in. So that we see every agenda, she has that information on it. So this protocol basically talks about the 2 weeks prior to the meeting to get onto the agenda, 1 week prior to the next meeting for any follow-up questions, and then the type of material we're looking for the documents to be in the application, whether they be PDF, digital, paper, or a combination of both. So that's it as simply as I can make it, but it gives every applicant an idea. Hopefully we will stop information coming to us on the same day of a meeting, and give us all an opportunity to at least review projects prior to the meeting date so we can formulate any questions we might have, understand what the intent of the applicant is, so we're not learning about it the night of the meeting.
Right, as occurred this evening. So Dave, regarding submission, and I know Janice still likes paper submission documents. I kind of don't like paper submission documents these days. Janice, if we were to require paper submission documents, how many sets would you require?
Just one. I just want one for the files, and then everything should also be digital. It's just I'm experiencing this empty file cabinet syndrome, where I have nothing, and maybe there was a lot of stuff that was done digitally last year, but where is it now? It sort of seems to be either scattered or missing, and in a couple of years, in another year, no one will be able to find any of it. And so I'm old-fashioned that way. I'd like to at least have one set in the file cabinet, and then I can look and I can see, okay, these are all the requests we did this year, and these are the notices we did this year. Instead, now I'm trying to put together a list based on emails and minutes and whatever else I can find.
Okay.
So in other words, Kathy Leonard had no file that you could refer to, Janice?
She said I just got some clarification from her today. So she does get the files, and then I guess she puts them on the table at the Carnegie for the meeting, and then she picks them back up the next day. She holds on to them until there is a permit that's been issued, a decision's been made, that sort of thing. And I can understand that, but there are a number now that I should be able to get that are done. And I have no idea what those are, things that were done from
Right.
January till now, you know, other than a month or so ago when I started getting involved in this. So I really want to get that sort of listing started for my sanity and hopefully for everybody's, you know, sense.
Yeah.
And
And I think it makes sense to keep getting at least one paper file. I often recommend two, so that we have one to go out in the field and one to stay in the file cabinet. And we don't need to get them to the commissioners because we all get it digitally. So it's more of an office tool.
Yeah, and especially to get maps that are the true size, so you can actually scale them, you can color them, you can mark them. I can't do that with the digital. At least I don't know how to scale them, you know, from the PDF. It drives me crazy. So even just one copy would be fine. But yes, primarily they have to do a PDF version, but we also have to have one paper copy for the files. And if Kathy's happy with just keeping the digital, that's fine. And I'll take the paper, or I'll wait till she's done with them and take the paper, you know, whichever way seems better there.
Okay. Dave, would you reread that particular section of the proposed document? I just want to make sure it reads properly.
Basically, right now, it's saying all application documents and follow-up information shall be submitted in a digital PDF format. And what I'm hearing, the suggestion is that it would say that, and it would go on to say, additionally, 2 paper copy files would be part of this submission.
Or even just one. One would be okay. Yeah.
Yep.
And I guess.
Okay, 1 is fine, you think, Janice?
Yeah. Oh, didn't follow shall be submitted.
I'm just hoping the applicant doesn't simply submit one paper copy and forget the PDF. The PDF is really important.
Just emphasize that we must have both.
You have to say "and," Bill. It's not.
Well, that's what I mean. Well, that's what I'm saying, Dave. But you should capitalize and A&D in capitals, because otherwise someone's going to submit. See, the nice thing about having PDF only is that was their only option. But now, even though it says "and," people like to play games with those.
Well, that's true, and I don't want to add more work on Kathy Leonard's plate.
Yeah,
but certainly she's the person right now that receives the documents. So whoever receives the documents, if it's not a complete application, it's that person's responsibility, I think, to say this isn't complete. You're missing something, and if they don't want to do that, then if somebody submits it and we get the application and they're missing something, then it would be our responsibility to tell the applicant, I'm sorry, we're missing, you didn't give us the digital format, so we can't talk about your project tonight.
That's right. See, I suspect that's going to happen, and we just have to get used to how, agree how we're going to handle it. That's what's going to happen, though. Someone's going to submit a paper copy without the digital and say, well, it said paper copy, but then you're going to say, well, it says and digital, but they're not going to do so. And there's a well-known consultant that lives very close to the Carnegie Library that I suspect might opt to do this. So just beware.
I guess part of what I'm hoping to do too, or at least what I'm used to doing, is to have a chance to, talking about letting the applicant know if they're missing stuff, is to be able to have a chance to review the applications and then tell them, look, we need a scaled map, or we need, I don't know, a map, a plan, or you didn't fill out section such and such, or things like that, rather than not having them know if there's something missing before they get to the meeting. It's helpful, in a lot of cases, people just aren't sure what they're supposed to do in full. And so I would look it over and I tell them, you've got to do a little more here. This is what you need, add erosion control to your plan now, something along that line.
I think, Janice, what you're touching on has been very helpful for people like me. I also heard it tonight with on Amherst Street, where Darlene Havlin was basically asking, she's the property owner for the lot we were talking about. And she's just asking, what do? I don't know what to do. She's the property owner. She's never done this before. And it would be helpful to be able to, documents like this application procedure are helpful, but also I think for her, the more global is, and I heard Ed, you talk about it, there's a number of steps a homeowner, a builder is going to have to go through to get their project underway.
I'm
And-
still concerned about that because I've never, in Framingham, I've never seen us sign a building permit. If we issued a determination or an order, there was never a building permit that we signed.
Oh, we have
I'm
always,
still confused about this.
I've seen it before. I've seen it before.
we're not, I understand what you're saying, Amanda, but we're really talking about process here and trying to be really clear about
I
what's the
understand.
process in Granby, Massachusetts.
Yeah, but I hadn't seen it that often in Granby either. The only time we signed the building permits was when they didn't have a determination. When they didn't come in with an RDA. When they came in for a building permit, we would sign a building permit. When they came in with a RDA or an NOI, we would issue those documents. We never would sign a building permit as well.
Okay. I'm not
That's why
familiar
I'm
with it,
confused.
so, yeah.
But I think
And
it's-
oh, I feel like I've been on the commission for close to 10 years and we often do both because one's a state requirement and one's a town requirement.
Mhm.
I'm just trying to figure out what the actual process is.
I know in the other towns that I've worked in, we have a similar process, and usually the building inspector won't do a final approval until he has something from the Concom saying that people have come to us and we're okay with the project.
That's right.
It's just like
And I
an
guess
extra
I
step.
assumed that
Yeah.
the permit issued that, like, filled that full role. Like, if they have a permit from conservation, they're good with
Yeah.
conservation.
So Dave, getting back to this protocol, is this in finished form as you see it right now?
Well, I would have to make the modification, Bill, and just to help it out, I would probably leave the digital PDF format in first place, and then I would say, and a single paper copy of the entire application.
Oh,
So that would include your application documents. It would also include all of your drawings and anything else that was part of the application.
Okay.
Okay.
You could
Okay.
say
Is
for the files,
everyone-
if that helps. I don't know.
Yeah. So is everyone good with that? Ed, are you good with that? Amanda, you good with that? Janice?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with it. Do we have to worry about the 21-day
I was
turnaround?
gonna mention that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to take action within 21 days, whether it's having a hearing or, I think for the determination, we have to have a hearing, and then for the other one, we have to open the hearing or something like that. They can waive their right to be heard within 21 days. So that's something we could have as like a boilerplate, something they have to agree to waive if they turn it in after the deadline. Because if they turn it in the day after our 2-week deadline or something like that, and we don't hear them within 21 days, they technically can go forward with the project if it's a RDA. Because we didn't
Right.
take action.
Well, yeah, Al Weiss is that lot on Amherst Street's a specific example of that. I think Al was kind enough to grant us a month extension on that. Because that was an open RDA, correct?
No,
No, it wasn't.
we asked
That was asked for, so.
Right.
Well, there wasn't. Okay. So as of tonight, it was an RDA.
correct. And
Yeah,
that
See,
was
here's
within
the interesting
21 days.
thing. So if we told Al he had to do something, i.e. that grading that you guys wanted around the house, he could say, go pound sand, and we'd have to wait a month. And when we come back a month from now, he would be categorically approved.
No. It's only if we have not made
Acted
any
on it.
movement. Yeah. So like by discussing it in an open public meeting, we are acting on it and we're requesting additional information.
I thought RDAs, we have to open and shut within 21 days, Janice. Is that true or not?
I think, yes, I think you're supposed to actually have a determination, but there are a lot of towns that only meet once a month.
Yeah. NOIs, we can continue. We cannot continue an RDA. That's the problem.
Well, you can continue it, but you have to have
Yeah.
permission of the applicant.
Right. Okay. Anyway,
I don't think that's right.
You know?
No, you don't have to close it within 21 days. You just have to act on it. You can't just like put it on the table and be like, we're not going to talk about it.
Well, but
Or, like,
I think
not
by
put it on
act,
the hearing.
you have to actually approve or deny in 21 days. That's how
Or
they
ask for an extension.
If I could jump in, folks,
Yeah.
the subject, the document we're talking about right now, I don't suggest we get into that type of minutia for the various approvals. These are for applicants and applications that they are submitting to us for any number of reviews. So you're right about, there are requirements within the law that we have actionable dates that we have to meet, otherwise the project gets approved. But I don't want to get into that level of detail here. I think this is for the applicant. It's the new applicant specifically, and we want our information on a timely basis is all we're asking here.
Mhm.
No, I understand. I just want to make sure we don't get ourselves in trouble by having
again,
unrealistic.
This is typical what happens when we have once a month meetings, but a lot of commissions, particularly in the western part of the state, only meet once a month. And that's
Right.
kind of a weak point in the regulation. Actually, I'm looking at it right now. But Dave, this does not affect crafting this document that you're working on. I'm prepared at this point to vote to approve your document subject to that minor change.
Okay, well, that's fine. I can correct it and send it to everybody tonight. That's not a problem.
Yeah, but again, I would recommend we just vote on it right now with the change, and then it will be in force. So we'll be good to go.
Okay, well, you can make a motion, Bill. You got the floor.
Okay, I move that we approve the procedural document.
Application procedure is what it's called.
Okay, application procedure crafted by Dave, subject to the change in adding the word "and" in capitals, A-N-D in capitals, one hard copy of the document. So again, the submission requirement will include a PDF of everything, which can be distributed readily to everyone on board, and one single hard copy of the paperwork.
Okay. And that's the only change.
Yep.
Okay.
You're gonna change the date on the top, I assume.
I should probably take the date off
Yeah, okay.
or put it in the footer or something, but I can change the date.
Whatever, whatever you think.
All right, somebody has to second it.
Second.
Ed seconds. All right. Any discussion? Changing the date is a discussion, okay. I'm just writing my notes while we're talking.
Yep.
Okay. Bill, do you want to call for a vote?
Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of approving this measure as amended?
Aye.
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 Any
Aye.
opposition? Okay, unanimously approved.
Good.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you
Thank
for the
you.
good work there. Very, very good.
And the patience.
Yes, indeed. I'm gonna read this. I'm finding this 21-day provision here. I'm actually in the code right now.
Yeah, I read it too.
Yeah, it's on page 56, is it?
I'm in a different kind of page, but it's
Okay, let me just read this.
10:05:3.
Yeah, it says determination of applicability within 21 days after the date of receipt of the request for determination of applicability, the Conservation Commission shall issue a DOA, determination of applicability, Form 2, period.
Which section is that?
That is section, this is B 1005,
3B.
3B. And I've been into this with other people on other matters, so I know this a little bit about this. And that's period. And then it gives the notice and time of place of public hearing shall be given, blah, 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 blah. But if you read that sentence essentially tells it in a nutshell. Within 21 days after the date of receipt for the RDA, we have to issue a determination, period. Now, the problem is we get put in a pickle where someone comes in with no pre-notice at all. Like, say, one of our projects tonight, we see this stuff for the first time. And if we're meeting once a month, guess what? We have to review, digest, and issue essentially immediately.
Yeah, that's
Now-
why I thought that they were allowed to ask for additional information.
Well, not on DOAs. You know, we can always issue a positive. You issue a positive, then that kicks them in.
I know.
That's the way you can handle that.
That's your only way around it.
Yep. So if they don't want to be nice, if you will, we can issue a positive. But again, most parties are sympathetic to those of us that meet once a month and don't press the matter.
Bill, when you said 21 days after date of receipt, what does that mean? Does that mean
Date of receipt is when it's hand delivered to Kathy via the one single copy and the PDF transmission. So by date of receipt, it's delivered to the municipality.
So this letter I'm looking at, we'll go back to Al Weiss on Amherst Street. It's dated September 16th, not even October, but September 16th, which is after our last meeting, of course, but that's not the date of receipt. Is that the date that Kathy got it? Because that's the following Thursday. We had our meeting on the 14th, and he wrote this up on the 16th, which is the following Thursday after our last meeting. So if that's the receipt date, the meter would start running then. Is that correct?
Well, this has to be advertised in the newspaper. Because I'll read the next sentence. It says, notice and time and place of the public meeting at which the determination will be made shall be given by the commission at the expense of the person making the request, not less than 5 days prior to such meeting, by publication in the newspaper of general circulation in the city of town where the land is located, and by mailing a notice to the person making the request, the owner, the Board of Health, and the planning board of said city or town. I find it hard to believe they're going to actually mail this to the Board of Health, but that's beside the point.
Well,
So
it
if
sounds
you
like
read-
it sounds like they're giving you a lot of caveats as far as how to determine the date of receipt.
Right.
It's not the day they give it to Kathy.
Right. So
I
if
think
someone,
it is.
you know, Dave, if we didn't have your newly enacted procedures in place, someone wanted to be a smart aleck, they could come in tomorrow morning and hand it to Kathy. And since we're not meeting for 30 days, after 21 days following that particular point in time, they would be granted a permit without even a hearing.
Well, that's what I'm trying to understand, Bill.
You know, so that's why.
I can't
how does our
That can't
document,
be possible.
I can't believe that's possible. Yeah, I know.
now, Dave, our document reads 14 days prior to the meeting. We need to get this
Yeah,
stuff.
the first one is 14 days, and then any follow-up information is 1 week or 7 days, I guess.
Okay.
I'm not using days. It's all in weeks and things.
Okay. So if it's 2 weeks prior to the hearing, that falls within the 21-day window. So we're good. But like you said, if they wanted to be smart alecks, they could go well beyond that window. They could go 3.5 weeks prior to the hearing.
Well, that's exactly right. And if you think about it, Al Weiss came to us at our last meeting and asked, his opinion was he did not need to file an RDA. We, at that meeting, after discussion, decided, let's ask for an RDA. So he said, okay, fine. And inside of 2 days, he came back with all his information for requesting an RDA. So if that's the date that becomes embedded as the date of receipt, and the meter or the clock starts ticking at that point, at this meeting here today, we're past the 21 days.
Yeah, let me look at the definition, see if they define date of receipt. Sometimes they'll do that. Let's see what it says. I'm looking at the definitions.
But Dave, this happens all the time, especially in Western Mass, because so many towns only meet once a month, and it usually doesn't become an issue. There were a couple times in Hadley where people made a point out of it, and they wanted that 21 days, and so we held a special meeting just to fit them in, just to make sure that we got it.
And certainly we can do that. We did that for West Street. So
yes, we did. Oh, it's right here, folks. 1004. Believe it or not, it's in the definitions. Date of receipt means the date of delivery to an office, home, or usual place of business by mail or hand delivery.
That's basically what you said earlier, Bill. So that would reinforce if he in fact handed that to Kathy or electronically sent it to Kathy. Does that mean that becomes in other words, the letter is dated the 16th of September. Does that become the trigger now? I mean, what if Kathy doesn't open her email? So
what? I don't think the date on it. It's like predating or post-dating a check. You send a check to Verizon. The fact that you write October 7th on the check, and the check is actually mailed out on the 12th. The date of mailing is going to be the 12th, not the 7th. You see?
Well, my background, Bill, when I was younger, in being an architect, you always are given shop drawings, and shop drawings are often governed by dates of return. So you are required to have a document for only a certain specific amount of time. And every time something is received in an office, it's always date stamped as that's the date everybody uses as the date stamp. And we have 1 week, 2 weeks from that point to make our decision. Otherwise, things are approved and they just go into the building. And it's the architect's fault for missing the response time. So that's what we're being told here. We have 21 days to respond to an applicant once they submit it to us. So if Kathy Leonard becomes our legal receiver, then based on what you just read, there's the 21 days. And
it only will really be an issue if there's lawyers involved and they're trying to like circumvent the commission.
It doesn't.
So I don't think it's as big of an issue. I think it's only going to become an issue if we have like lawyers involved trying to circumvent the system and like get around the commission's review. I think otherwise we're fine. It's something I have to deal with a lot out here in Framingham, but I have not had it cause any issues in Granby so far. And I'm about to hit my 7th year, guys. I hope you know that on this commission.
You know, Dave, to speak to your point, I have my shop drawing review stamp downstairs. I haven't used it in a long time, but you're right. If you're given a 7-day review window and you want to make a change to the plan set 8 days out, and it was a 7-day window, you're out of luck. You got to
go hat in hand to the contractor and say, I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, but.
That's right. And again, think about it. If you didn't have that closed kill date for shop drawing review, you could essentially dangle these projects out for months and months with no response, and nothing would ever get built.
And I think, as Amanda's pointing out, when you have a commercial property, we probably aren't going to see it here in Granby with residential, but a commercial property where money is involved and lawyers are involved, these
Yep.
kill dates become very critically important. So,
Yep. Yep.
but they don't
Or
meet
large
once a month.
subdivisions.
What's that?
Sorry, I was saying, or large subdivisions where people are trying to,
Yeah, well,
flip a large piece of land.
Yeah.
You've got lots of money involved, and yes, people are gonna, you can't go on forever, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So Janice, in your experience, how have you in the towns that you've worked in handled this situation?
It usually doesn't come up, and for the few times in Hadley when it did, we asked them, they said, well, will I have a decision in 21 days? And I'd say, well, actually, we only meet once a month, so it'll be 4 weeks. And usually they say, okay, fine.
Okay.
So
Okay.
and it's only a few times. And when those people were really being picky about it, then we held an extra meeting. Anyway, we held an extra meeting if that was really what was required, if people required it.
Okay. Well, again, I'm glad we discussed it. This is an
Yeah.
important point. I'm glad we're all aware of the situation. That's good. Very, very good. Well, good. Well, I guess we got our review set put together, Dave. Thanks for doing that.
Yep.
And
Yep.
hopefully people will comply.
Well, I think it's giving them guidance, which is the most important thing.
Good.
Okay, folks, it's 9:26.
Yes.
Okay, we'll call the meeting adjourned.
If you so move.
Is there a second?
A second.
Second, all in favor, or any discussion? No, all in favor. Let's just.
All in favor?
All
All right.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.